click the link down below on Patreon, or I'll put the link up here in the corner to Patreon, so you can go there and become a patron supporter.
Get mantra and meditation MP3s at JasonGallant.ca.
So today I thought I'd talk a little bit about an issue that seems to plague the spiritual community a lot, possibly because of the New Age influence, and also because the spiritual journey a lot of times begins with the ego, and the ego desires things or fears things, so it's looking for spiritual practice to get rid of the things that are annoying to the ego. maybe there's something that you don't like. Maybe it's the mosquitoes in the woods right now. It might be something like that. And then you're looking to do a spiritual practice to create an effect in the external environment, right? But sometimes it's just easier to swat the fly instead of actually do a mantra, just so you know. But the fact is that a lot of people seek at first to use spiritual practice to get superficial desires. Now, it doesn't mean that mantra can't do this. Mantra can produce some desires. It can produce some fruit in the external environment, but it does not work in the way people think. It does not work in the way people think when it comes down to such and such doesn't love me. I'll chant this mantra, I'll do the Venus mantra or the Radha Krishna mantra, and then that person will just fall miraculously in love with me. That's not the way it works. This is not like a voodoo witchcraft sort of scenario where you control people to be the zombies in your apocalypse of desire, right? So now, I don't mean to burst any bubbles here either, because just hear me out here, and you're going to understand in a deeper level that what does happen is much greater than you can think, okay? So mantra will not serve the primary purpose of achieving your desires or getting rid of your fears when it comes down to external events, right? But what it will do is unravel the internal motivations that are causing you to need certain things or causing you to be afraid of certain things. These are illusions or pieces of ignorance within you that are causing the suffering, and that's what mantra unravels. First and foremost, this is what it does. Mantra is to free from the mind. That's what it means in Sanskrit. And if mantra is to free from the mind, well, the mind is the place of desire and fear. That's the mind. So mantra unravels this. Now, because of this, what happens? Freedom happens. A movement of freedom. And not only is that naturally more attractive to the world in some way, because if you don't need something from someone, it's a lot easier for them to have a relationship with you than you imposing all your desires and fears upon them. I'm sure some of you have had friends like this, where they're afraid of this, or they're worried about that, or they need this from you. I mean, that's a totally different situation, and it's got a lot less unconditionality to it when you have a relationship with somebody that needs something from you. You see, it's not the same motive. So mantra helps free you from all these internal slavery programs that you have upon yourself and these conditions you have upon happiness and freedom. And through unraveling those conditions, an internal experience emerges in deeper and deeper and deeper levels. It continues to unravel. It just continues to evolve. But each time it unravels one piece of that illusion, you have a piece of happiness and freedom and an experience, a real experience that's with you forever. It never leaves. It's the unconditional experience, and it frees you from so many mechanisms that you think are so important now. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is that I always get a comment or two in the comments under one of my mantra videos, and people are saying, oh, I want this to happen, I want that to happen, I want this person to love me, I want that person to marry me, I need this person to take me back. And, you know, that's not the way mantra works. It's not made to enslave other people to your desires. It's not. It's to free everyone from your desires, actually, including the people that are your object of affection, right? It's going to free you and them. So then love can actually happen, finally, because there's so many times in your life, maybe when you're 5, maybe when you're 10, maybe when you're 20, maybe, you know, some time in your life where you really needed something. You said, I really need this one thing. I really want it. And on that rare occasion, you actually get the object of what you want. You're like, I'm going to covet this thing. I really want it. And then it turns out to be the worst possible thing for you. Sometimes you get the object of your desire and it's the worst possible thing. It becomes a much bigger problem than you ever thought possible because you had a certain level of wisdom before you obtained such and such object or situation, right? But mantra is for seekers of truth and seekers of the wisdom that flows through all things, and this has a much higher level of intelligence than your ego does, and it knows what's best for you. When you surrender into the infinite, there's a natural order of things that you fall into. And it isn't about your egotistical desire, which is all about separateness and need and pain and suffering and compensation for that, right? A true mantra chanter, or a person who is really seeking, is seeking to become free of this game of pain and the actions that come from pain. Now, if you watch the rest of my videos, you know that pain still happens, but not suffering, which is different. So as you chant mantra for a certain purpose, lots of things can happen. So some people, one person was just asking actually, just offhand, one person was just asking, will my husband and I work things out if I chant the Venus mantra because Venus is good for conjugal bliss? Perhaps it could happen like this, where you chant the Venus mantra and all of a sudden the communication opens up between you and your mate, or maybe you have that one fight that you really need to have, and then you finally come to some sort of terms of harmony. You finally negotiate the terms of the relationship or renegotiate, and everything is fine. But the other thing that could happen is the relationship, the truth comes to the surface, and you both go your separate ways. And you then attract the relationship in your life, or you are open to receiving the new relationship, which is more in alignment with who you are now. So either one could happen. And I know this is very scary to some people because they're so attached. They're so attached to their situation that they think they know what's best for themselves. But just look back on your past in your life. Look back on every event in your life. Did you always know what was best for you at the time? Many times you were probably convinced of it. You probably thought you really knew what was best. But truthfully, if you look back now, there's a strong possibility that there were some decisions in your life that you probably would have made differently. Right? So mantra is about bringing in that infinite intelligence that knows more than you do about your situation and about what is needed for your development and for your greater achievement of unconditional freedom. So mantra is nothing to be scared of. It always brings to you what is the best possible thing for you. It's just that sometimes you don't understand it. And of course, there are some mantras which are more aggressive than others. But one of the reasons why the Buddha started his teachings was because the Brahma class were abusing the power of mantra. They were using it for specific egotistical endeavors and not necessarily using it in terms of enlightenment for the general population. That's why he's known as the great heretic amongst the Brahmin class. So yeah, remember that mantra is about enlightenment first. Achievement of desires is way down the line, because what you desire right now will be totally different than what you desire when you are free. There are different priorities. There are different priorities that become your own when you are free. Now, some desires might even come through, ironically, when you don't need those desires anymore. That also does happen. So I hope this helps you understand a little bit about mantra. I hope it helps you on your spiritual journey. Thanks for watching, and take care for now.